Michelle were kind enough to give us a portage across from Sandy Cove to the other Sandy Cove, where we will launch, because the timing of the tides are not in our favor to cross through Petite Passage. So this will be our new launch site. Oh yeah, whoa! This is Porpoise Bay. We're crossing St. Mary's Bay. We've seen about 4 different pods of porpoise. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that one. That was a far cry from the wind on the other side of Digby Neck. Grateful for a calm day of paddling.
Crazy calm day crossing St. Mary's Bay. We chose to do a portage from Sandy Cove West to Sandy Cove East. We found some nice locals that brought a trailer over and carried our boats over. I have misgivings about it a bit. Everyone said, oh, you can't kayak through the neck, you can't kayak through the neck. There's a 10-knot current through there. Without qualifying my skill or my ability or what I've done in the past, I find it a little frustrating. But at the end of the day, this is probably the smart decision, because Katie was unsure of her abilities a bit. And we were unsure of the timing because we wanted to go through it slack. It had been 5 p.m. and then we had nowhere to camp, and another 3 miles of paddling, which is an hour and a half depending. You don't want to be caught up in the dark with no place to camp. And then I tried to use the drone today and I dropped it in the water, and I feel pretty shitty about it. What can you do? Soldier on, I guess. Really don't like, I guess my struggle in life is I don't like people taking the decision away from me based on their experiences. I want to make good decisions for myself based on my experiences. And I guess like this drone, I own my mistakes. But, you know, if you tell a kid he can't do a math problem over and over and just give him a calculator, he'll never learn how to do math. If someone tells me I can't paddle somewhere over and over, I don't know how I improve or grow. Katie's always a trooper, and I think I'm glad she less anxiety about this paddle now because we did the portage, which is good. I expected my boat to have some meltdowns because it's so old, but maybe not quite as many as it's had. From hatch cover rippings to skeg breaking multiple times to fiberglass shards in my boat to the skirts not fitting. A little frustrating. The irony is the boat's pretty good to paddle, tracks pretty well, it's pretty enjoyable on the seas. I feel quite comfortable in her. And she carries a lot of gear, which is what we needed. Katie jokes. I said the other day, without difficulties, without struggle, there's no story. I guess the hope in life is that the struggles that happen are not self-inflicted. They're circumstantial, but it is what it is. Maybe a whale will cheer us up. Coming up to the little lighthouse here. We've made it across Mary's Bay. Our wounds are softening, but not much. Our egos are trying to relax. We're hoping that right around this little point there is a channel that takes us in. According to Navionics, there is such a channel. According to Murphy, there is no channel, and maybe spiky rocks with someone holding a French baguette sandwich on the beach and no way to get to it. That would be Murphy. But I think Navionics probably got it going on. Ups and downs, sadness and sorrows, excitement and jubilation. That's what we go through. Just saw a minke whale. Pretty cool. Out pretty far. I think one swam under us. A big boil came up under me, like a big whale belch. But, and I thought I heard a whale breathing afterwards, but I didn't see him. Or her. Or they, depending on what's going on in the whale identification world. Ooh, a change of color of the water. I think that's typically fresh water coming in. Well, no dinghy docks. Unless there's one on the other side. There's a building up there. You want to go check the other side just to make sure? This is shallow here. Holy smokes. Mud City. Don't get stuck. Could there be? Could there be? What does Murphy say? Murphy say, could there be? Could there be? Nada. Shorter ladder. Well, I'm certain I can make it up the ladder. I don't know if we would be on the ground when we came back.
No, the tide's going up. Tide's going up.
So then we need a long rope and tie to the top.
So let me check the tide over here. So it is almost 2 o'clock. Let me check the side. It's the closest tide station. Church Point, high tide is at 5:02, so we're mid-tide right now. We're at 10 feet, and it's going up 7 more feet. It's going up to 17.
I think what I'm going to do is get out, put skirt and PFD in here.
Yeah.
Oh. There's some little teeny footprints going across the sand here. There's some little teeny children footprints in the sand. In the mud. Here comes Katie up the ladder.
The new.
Multi-talented. Not only does she sea kayak, deal with emotionally distraught men, but she climbs ladders with the swiftest of ease. While carrying a line in her bag.
Ta-da! Now question, how much rope do we need? Emile, come. We have arrived on the French side of Nova Scotia.
French side of Nova Scotia.
We're in search of maybe a good eat.
Baguette?
Good restaurant. Baguette. Do you want me to hold the slack part of it? Oh. Impressive. What?
Like that.
Wow, that is impressive. I am impressed. That is damn impressive.
Look at that. That's a real bowling.
That is impressive. And it makes oh. Impressive. What? It makes fun of me for my ungainliness when tying knots, but mine don't end up that pretty. Who were the Acadians? They were descendants from France who settled in New France in the 17th and 18th centuries. Acadia, the first colony of New France, was founded in 1605. Acadia included areas of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, Ontario, and Maine. Over a period of 74 years, 6 wars were fought in Acadia to prevent a British takeover. The British finally conquered Acadia in 1710. Over the next 45 years, Acadians refused to sign allegiance to the British monarch, mainly due to the Protestant beliefs, as most Acadians were Catholic. During the French and Indian War, British officers suspected the Acadians were aligned with the French. In response, Britain, with the help of New England legislators, carried out the Great Expulsion. Approximately 11,500 Acadians were forcefully deported to England, France, and the Caribbean. One group of migrants were recruited by the Spanish and settled in Louisiana, alongside Creole communities there. This blending of ethnic groups formed the Cajun culture, lending to the French influence in Louisiana. After time, some French Acadians returned to their homeland in Canada and continued to celebrate their cultural roots there. We took a short walk down the road in search of Ecole de la Anse-sur-Mer. Yes, please don't judge me on my French pronunciation, which translates to the schoolhouse in the Cove on the sea. The building was previously a schoolhouse that had been converted to a restaurant. The food was amazing with staff to match. We are as delighted to meet Chef Pierre as he was to meet us when the waitress told him of our venture along the coast. Chef Pierre couldn't have been more welcoming, giving us his contact information should we need assistance at any time while traveling in Nova Scotia. Look at the moon. The moon's up. It's half. You want to check it out?
Don't hurt yourself. I'm coming. This is our life. Holy smokes.
Yeah, right?
How would you rate this site?
It's still trash laden. I would give it a 6.
Hard to tie down, no stakes.
Yeah. No shade, but we'll be up at dawn. Yeah, there's lots of trash, huh? I forgot John's water bottle on the pier and he takes a long walk back to retrieve it. How does he respond to my whoops? He stops at the French restaurant on the way back and brings me back a brownie. How did I get to be such a lucky girl? I'm so excited to try the French Acadian coffee we bought in town on our Jetboil French press this morning.
On our way again, we're leaving a nice little community, had a nice meal, nice little campsite out on a point. Again, lazy to get going, so the tide is not necessarily with us. It's all the way out. Right now the water's maybe 7 inches deep, which makes it hard to paddle. It is quite beautiful. We have a slight headwind, which was not predicted. Seems our standard take is study all the apps and find you get something different. Just ahead of us is called Church Point. We're going to go around that point a little further, maybe 3.5 hour paddle a day. I suppose there's another great little restaurant we need to check out. Really good seafood. Always a treat. Both desperately hoping for a little bit deeper water, and we are a quarter mile, maybe not that far, quite a bit from shore, and it is shallow. We're wet and soggy. We got to make it to that point up here. Just not the most enjoyable. Been worse. But we're kind of against the tide and the wind's with the tide. So for every stroke you're making it a third of what you normally do. But the good news is we're not far from a landing. I just know we've both taken water in and got kind of wet. Page's arms are all wet. But all you can do is take one more stroke. Just keep taking one more stroke. Saw a good seal jump there. Saw one swim under my boat a minute ago. I think it is. It's like a white silvery bullet under your boat. In the chop soup. Bouncy, rubber ducky water. Just splashing all over you. Earning it today, folks. We're earning it.
Ooh-wee. Man, that wind is much more than 5 to 10 miles an hour. It's more like 15 to 20. So here we are on a beach outside of Saulnierville, Nova Scotia, and one of the things that's definitely been a challenge here paddling in Canada is the amount of trash on the beaches. So there are not set designated campsites, but we kind of find them as we go along, but they have just been filled with trash. You do find some in Maine, but bits and pieces, some rope, lobster gear, but up here we've definitely found much more. I'm sure it's washing up from the beaches. It's not generally places where people are, although this does seem like a day use area, but even in beaches that are pretty remote, we're just going to take a little wander. But you could I spent one day picking up trash, and very quickly, within about 15 minutes, I had filled a whole trash bag. But large pieces of plastic, plastic bottles are quite frequent. Rope. It's like old car mats. Not sure if some of it is because of the Bay of Fundy, things kind of get trapped up, although we're now at St. Mary's Bay, so we're across from the Bay of Fundy. If it's just kind of a function of that, but apparently it wasn't uncommon, and the culture is kind of changing now, but often ships would just throw trash bags overboard with their trash, or any trash. That apparently is starting to change now, but it seems pretty late in the game for awareness of our environment. I think people don't really have an idea of how much trash is littered on the beach until you start to walk and get out here. So
what's crazy is this synthetic line. This is made from plastic or nylon. It's very similar to the plastic that you'll get in any synthetic clothing. So if you buy like a synthetic in this coat, this jacket, or these pants, it's just smaller fibers of the same material. And this will break down in the ocean and be the same size as plankton. And then the fish will ingest it, and then eventually we'll probably ingest the fish. And so now if they do testing on most humans, you'll find this plastic in our systems. It's really crazy and sad.
yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have the capacity for beach cleanup today. We don't have the hatch space to take it with us on our kayaks. We try to pick up bits and pieces when we see it, but we don't have a space to do big beach cleanup on this trip. And it just kind of catches, where the tide line is. It's just literally everywhere. We have yet to find a beach without trash up here in Canada, unfortunately. Still beautiful, beautiful country and needs to be preserved.